Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. All praise and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Hashem, Rakakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders that GMS to rule well. Peace and blessings to the Akim is out there fighting, doing this work with truth and sincerity. His brother Bonson Pod with a quick lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect men out there that are listening or watching these videos. As you see, man, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans have been oppressed since the time we came over here to serve slavery, for breaking the laws, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father, whom the Word called God, name is Yahweh, and whom the Word ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, so-called Jesus Christ, name is Yahweh Shai. So as you look throughout the times you've been here, if you paid attention, you will see how the other nations of people, especially the Edomites, how they, even the heathen nations, how they would turn their nose up at Jake, professing themselves to be above Jake and better than Jake. You get tired of looking at that, always being down on the bottom, man. They look at you with disgust. When you see the female Edomites, when you walk past them, they clench their purse. They look at you as like you're a stain on a white shirt that they disdain, man. They can't stand to see the sight of an Israelite, a gang which consists of these so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. They look at you like in disgust. They have no respect for you. So he walk around holding himself not guilty. But all along, Starbucks and these different coffee houses all stem from a place called the Tontine Coffee House. I'm going to read a little bit of this and get Zechariah 11 and 5, man. Because these people don't have no pity upon us. They look at us like we nothing. When you notice it through the spirit, you get fed up. You get sick of it. You just cuss them out upon your breath and put a curse on them, man. These people are very hateful and evil people. They in rulership of the planet, and look how the planet is. Half of Australia is burning up. The food is tainted. They say 85% of the ocean life is messed up. But this is under his rulership. But you look at the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, as we are discussed. You're a cancer or a virus on the planet, and this is under your rulership. The book of Job 9 and 24 said the earth is given into the hand of the wicked in the Bible, in the King James Version Bible. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. We're not ruling or running anything. But yet and still you look at us as though we nothing and pathetic. Now granted, some of our people out there are lost. They sick, they gone, they through. Nothing you could do for them. They done. At the same time, you still look at these heathen nations, and the way they look at you, man, it's like they look at you in disgust. And me, I don't like it. I understand the situation and the position, but I can't wait, man. I can't wait till the day Yahweh Bashim Amsai rise up to pray. Oh man, oh my goodness, I can't wait, man. So this is the Tontine Coffee House. Then I'm gonna switch to another one. Tontine Coffee House, across from the metal market where enslaved workers could be hired or brought, was the Tontine Coffee House, home of the New York Stock Exchange. Now, this is how the New York Stock Exchange came about, because they were selling slaves, man. It said were enslaved workers, Israelites coming up on them ships, and to go said could be hired or bought. What other nation of people were bought? Come on, man, don't get simple. You people know what nation of people been bought? Was the Tontine Coffee House, home of the New York Stock Exchange. Power brokers of the day met in a room there to buy, sell, and trade. As soon as a ship's, see, who came over in cargo slave ship? You read the book of Deuteronomy 28 and 68, it tell you about that. As soon as a ship's captain reached the harbor, this is where he came to register his cargo, to register slave that's on the cargo slave ships. The goods coming to New York in the 1790s included coffee, tea, sugar, and molasses, fine furniture, cloth, cotton, and enslaved men, women, and children are Israelites. The so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, we was all in captivity, man. Judah, Benjamin, and Levi came over here on slave ships. Once again, who was sold on them slave ships? Who was sold on auctioning blocks? You see? The companies that insured, outfitted, and owned the boats used to carry Africans, which are Israelites, so-called Negro, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, man. Africans, so-called Africans from their homeland to enslaved, often traded on the stock market. And that's how they came over to the New York Stock Exchange, man. But they want to look at us, like I mentioned before, but look at the stuff that they doing, man. Look at the condition of the planet under their rulership. The slave trade was big business, and New Yorkers made huge profits from it long after slavery was made illegal in the state. The first and last New York slave trader to be executed was caught in April 1861 as the first shots of Civil War fired. The stock exchange has roots that go back to a spring day in 1792 when a group of 24 men met outside 68 Wall Street in the shade of a huge sycamore tree that locals called a buttonwood. You can go back to the second floor. The Tontine Coffee House, where it remained until 1871. The words of its president was merchants, trafficking, politicians selling. It says, in the words of its president, it was a place filled with underwriters, brokers, merchants, traders, and politicians selling, purchasing, trafficking. Slaves that was coming off the cargo slave ships, or ensuring some reading, others eagerly inquiring the news. Everything was in motion. All was life, busted and activity, and it was also a place built on slavery. The reason why you got the New York Stock Exchange in that area is because of the Tontine Coffee House off the slaves, man. That's how they started that. So that's why you see these Edomites meet up at their coffee shops today. It goes back to that. You understand? Now, let's see, can I get this other one up real quick? I'm gonna get to the point. This is narratively hidden history, the Tontine Coffee House. That's it right there. So I'm going to read. It said in May 1719, the Buttonwood Agreement, a document signed by the first 24 stockbrokers in New York City, created what is now known as the New York Stock Exchange. You see, the agreement was a kind of place name. It has been agreed upon underneath a buttonwood tree, also known as the American sycamore outside of 68 Wall Street. The signers agreed needed a place to conduct their businesses, and coffee house seen as a good place as any. So the Tontine Coffee House, named after Napoleon banker Lorenzo Tonti, would become the first indoor home for the New York Stock Exchange. The funds to build the coffee house were generated by soliciting subscribers to buy 200 shares, today equal to $4,761.90. As the members died, so did their initial investment. Okay, you can go back and look up this Tontine Coffee House, man. Tontine Coffee House opened in 1794 on the corner of Wall and Water streets. The business conducted in the building was not only limited to buying and selling of stocks. What took place on the second floor, in Mirror of Gotham Backyard, still quotes an English traveler commented in 1807. The coffee house was filled with underwriters, brokers, merchants, trade, politicians selling, purchasing, trafficking, or ensuring some reading. See, which is go back to slaves. Now, let me go back here. You can go back and read this yourself. The coffee house slip and the corners of Wall and Pearl Streets were jammed up with carts, dryers, and wheelbarrows. Everything was in motion and life and business as usual. Now, let's go down here. I'm not going to read all this. When a new ship arrived in New York Harbor, the captain would first come to the Tontine to register his cargo. This it wasn't unfortunately, this was done by design, including enslaved Africans, which are Israelites. During this time, the slave trade was a large part of the New York the New York City trading business, and residents here made huge profits from the suffering of others. The practice continued even after all slaves were officially freed in New York on July 4th, 1827. This is Zechariah 11:5. Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty. This is the mindset of these Edomites, of Edom, which is the so-called white people. That's your biblical nationality, man. You hold yourself not guilty. Here it is, you shooting us down in the streets. You got us relegated to ghettos. You got us in your prisons. You see, they stole us from our land. You see, you did nothing but rape, rob, murder, and kill the people that was enslaved and put us on slave ships, man. You stole our identity. You sold us on your stock exchange, which came from selling slaves, which goes back to the Tontine Coffee House, today known as the Manhattan, man. Back then it was known as New Amsterdam. That's when the stock market there has started. Whose possessor? So you hold yourself now guilty for all the things you have done to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, but yet you look down upon them as though real filth and disgust. Look at your track record. Look how you got the planet. Look at the things you've done to these people, man, to the Israelites, whose possessors slay them and hold themselves now guilty. And they that sell these say, blessed be the Lord. You sold us. When you go to Exodus 21:16, he that be selleth of a man and found in his hands must be dealt with, put to death in this time, man. And we still over here in captivity. We're not free. We're not in our homeland. We're still subject to payments. We're still getting shot down in the streets. But you look at us like we're nothing. But look at the things that you're doing. Look at the stuff you're doing. So you ask yourself, who's the real terrorist? You ask yourself, who are the real scumbag on the planet, man? Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich. You got rich from the trafficking that you've done to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native Americans, man. From the slavery, from the slave trade. And their own shepherds pitied them not. For I will no more pity the inhabitants of the land, saith the Lord. But lo, I will deliver the men, every one unto his neighbor's hand, and unto the hand of his king, and they shall smite the land, and out of their land I will not deliver them, man. This is what you see going on today. That's why the spirit and the power of Yahweh by Shema Shah got us out here prophesying that these things that happen to the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American, which are the true biblical Israelites, the apple of the Most High's eye, we're special. He's going to pay or revenge us from all the things that we've been going through and that we're going through today. How the nations, of the heathen nations look at us, man. And even our own people look at us like we crazy, man. You see? He gonna take us out of the king's hand, man. When you go to the book of Job in the Bible, 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. That's the king of the earth right now. The one who's ruling the planet. He gonna deliver every man. He gonna deliver us, man. Yahweh Bashim Shah is gonna deliver us from this madness of a life that we so-called living. And this is not life, man. You know? I just want to touch on that because I be seeing it every day, how E just be looking at you in disgust, man. And then not to even think about the track record or the things he's done to the people that was brought over here on cargo slave ships and stole the Native American, so-called Native Americans' land, man. You see? This is crazy, man. This dude got the nerve, man. So we can't wait till the Lord come back to avenge his people and to bring righteousness on the planet, man. Lord willing, we'll do it to the end. He give us the strength. All you out here, beginning with the apostles and elders and the men on down that's laboring the truth of the said throughout the four corners of this round world, that he give us the strength to bear our cross and to keep bringing this out, man. Because this devil got a lot of nerve, man. And the track record that he has reached up into the heavens. Hey, Brother Bonsapai, Lord willing, hope it was edifying. Till the next time. Shalom.